Should you go for growth in China? Or should you go for growth in India? For businesses looking to capitalize on Asia's growth, it doesn't have to be either or. Jagdish, Sheth, professor of marketing at Emory University in Atlanta, says multinational firms can take advantage of growing consumer demand in both of these two emerging Asian economic giants. Professor Sheth, who goes by the nickname Jag, puts the two together in his book Chindia Rising: How China and India Will Benefit Your Business.
These two nations have a billion-plus population, and all of a sudden in both nations, they're going from an agricultural society to an industrial society where all the young people would now like to buy branded consumer products. And if you are a truly multinational enterprise, you have to participate in that market, and you have to learn how to adapt to the local marketing activities, local market approaches.
In a presentation at NUS Business School, he noted that in emerging markets, the majority of consumption is unbranded, in everything from food to soap to appliances. The opportunity now is in creating brands which will not only produce revenue, but also build value.
Just like Japanese brands rose globally and well respected, Korean brands, Samsung, even Hyundai have done a fantastic job of creating brand value. The next major brands will come out of China and to some extent out of India.
There are four key factors Sheth sees as driving the demand for branded products in China and India. First, aging. Populations in developed markets like the U.S. are graying more quickly than in emerging markets, so corporations see more growth potential in the emerging markets. Second, the rise of the brand-conscious middle class. In India, Sheth says that extends to branded prepackaged foods as well as services like house cleaning and childcare. The third driver of brand demand is technology. Marketing campaigns on social media, for example, offer instant and widespread opportunities to create brand awareness. And finally, there are the economic reforms in China and India that have made consumption acceptable and indeed actively encouraged. The numbers are tantalizing for any company hoping to get a slice of the Chindia pie. In India, mobile phone usage has exploded, with nearly 900 million users talking, surfing, and shopping on their handsets. And in China, by 2016, 380 million people will be shopping online on sites like Taobao and JD.com. And by 2020, a Boston Consulting Group study says consumer spending in China and India together will hit $10 trillion. That's not a market multinational companies can afford to ignore, although Professor Sheth says so far few have been successful in both.
There are only a few companies that have done well in both markets. They are mostly in durable goods. They are mostly in automobiles. So Nissan, Ford are doing well, or GM kind of stuff, which is interesting. Appliances, consumer electronics, definitely. PC business, yes, But when it comes to food and beverages, it is so local, that the only ones that I can think about who have done well in both would be like Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC. In both markets, they are doing well. Of course, in China, they're much bigger, in size than in India. And McDonald's, surprisingly, is doing very well in both countries.
Soon, though, these MNCs will have to compete with China and India's homegrown brands, who already are looking beyond their own domestic markets for business.
I think all Chinese and Indian companies must think global. Global mindset is very key. And surprisingly, companies that are doing very well are not the ones we think about. In the tractor business, at the low end of tractor, Mahindra as a company, for example, through acquisition has become very big in China, and they put a capacity in America because these are the three biggest markets for tractors, and you have to participate in all these three markets.
There is no simple key for unlocking the emerging markets, or more companies would be using it. But Sheth did offer some helpful strategies. First, convert non-users into users. Don't just go after your competitors' customers, but create new consumers and grow the pie. Democratize innovation. Make products affordable and accessible. And invest in packaging and design with an eye on local tastes and trends. Sheth expects China's growth to start to slow around 2020 as its own population ages, while India's growth could start picking up steam around the same time if it gets its infrastructure and industrial policy into shape. But he says both of them could be derailed if they fail to make major investments in clean growth.
Sustainability is a key one. In the book, I've said that the only thing that would stop China and India economically growing is not technology, it's not, in fact, capital, but it's the environment.
Assuming they get their acts together on that front, he says the rise of these two nations will be transformative. For NUS Business School, I'm Katie Sargent.